What's up, you guys? Sean Ross Sapp. It is March 20th. This is the Fightful.com post-SmackDown show. Live from the Performance Center. For some reason, still live. I mean, at least mostly live. I am joined by Mr. Warren Hayes. Little peek behind the curtain. This will be hour number 4 that Warren and I have recorded together today. We are putting 3 retro reviews in the can. And I might release one early, depending on some super chat goals that I may have over the next week. But we did a great one. The one that I want to release, we took a look at Triple H versus Shawn Michaels from the last Raw of 2003. And then we went back to the start of their friendship all the way to Crown Jewel. It was a fun look at things, Warren. I'm rather enjoying this new retro review format on FightfulSelect.com.
Yes, and it's really fun to just have an opportunity to delve into a match like that and a couple of people. It's always fun to rewatch pay-per-views, don't get me wrong, and talk about it because there's usually a lot of material to go through. But here, it's really more like a deep dive, right? Going into some very particular instances regarding specific individuals all throughout a career. No, it was a lot of fun. The other 2 that we did as well were a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to all of them being released. And since we spent so much time together today, Sean, I almost feel like I should buy you dinner.
You should, but you didn't. You didn't. I'll dock it from your pay. No big deal. It's no problem. Right, but we actually do have our first in this format already up on FightfulSelect.com. It is Art Barr, Eddie Guerrero, and Louis Spicolli. It is heavily focused on them. That Worlds Collide match from AAA in 94, and then what happened following before. It's a great look, but we have dozens of retro reviews at FightfulSelect.com. So right now, if you're thinking, oh man, I want to get a look at something different, FightfulSelect.com, in addition to the exclusive news, in addition to Alex Palowski's Sour Graps, in addition to Steven Jensen's Weekender, in addition to Q&As. As long as we're over 500 subs, we're going to do Q&As weekly. We had 2 with Jimmy Van this week. We had 1 with me last week. I'll be back this upcoming week for another one. In addition to that, in addition to the Backstage Report podcast, where you get news that you will only hear at Fightful, nowhere else, until they listen to our show and pick it up themselves, maybe. You also get dozens of retro reviews and dark match commentaries that are in there. Check it out. Had to do the plug at the top of the show because not a lot happened on SmackDown tonight. Although I will say, of the Performance Center shows thus far, by far the best.
Unquestionably, this was the most put together one. We actually got wrestling.
Yes,
like we actually had wrestling matches. Would we go as far as to say as a certain AEW Wednesday night show may have influenced the direction tonight? Mayhaps. Maybe. And if so, well, we ended up being winners because it was much, much more enjoyable than anything of the NXT, of the Performance Center show that they've put on so far. I wouldn't call it a great night of wrestling, but in the context, I was, as a certain podcaster out there, just a podcaster out there says, context is king. It's important to keep in mind the context that we're in right now. This was fine. It was a good show.
Reminder, if you're watching live on YouTube or at any time on YouTube, leave a thumbs up, subscribe, tap that bell for notifications. But if you are watching live on YouTube, donate a super chat, any amount. You can get your question or statement read on the air. Shane Haas is the first one up. He says, do you think Wrestlemania build is getting a lot better with less matches? Might it make fans want it more if the wrestlers touch less? Yes, I've been saying that forever. Alex, or Warren, because I've said it to Alex so many damn times, WWE does things to death to the point to where I don't want to see these people touch anymore. I don't want to see them wrestle anymore. The Corbin Reigns thing, 12 matches. 12. One of the things I love so much about MJF and Cody Rhodes was that feud went just about as long. It went 1 month less than Reigns and Corbin, but they had one match. One match that they built to. And that's something that I really enjoy. Reigns and Goldberg. They have not touched yet, so I'm a little bit more excited for that. If they were doing tag matches every week, I probably wouldn't, Warren.
If they were doing tag matches every week, your eyes would start bleeding off of all the Goldberg at this point. It probably wouldn't be good either. No, but I agree. In theory, I agree. I think there's always exceptions to that rule, but in general, if we're talking about WWE in a very broad brushstroke, they just have a tendency to do things to death and just ram things down our throat over and over and over again. So yes, less is more. Kind of refreshing. I like it.
Rob Wilkins says, in the world of pro wrestling, does contract tampering exist? I've stated before the Hardy stuff seems so obvious. I'm surprised. I loved it, but curious. Well, I mean, Matt Hardy has been free for 3 weeks. So, I mean, I'm sure the details were hammered out after that, but I do know that other people reached out to him through an intermediary in the past to see if they thought that he would even be available. And I know that that is true, but I don't know to the limit. But WWE participates in contract tampering all the time. MLW had to send warnings about it. I know Shane Strickland was one of them. I know Garza and Humberto Carrillo were a couple of them that MLW was like, hey, homeboys, what are y'all doing? Like, these are our guys. Well, they weren't for long. So, I mean, that's a thing. I think eventually some legal action will be taken about this in the future.
The thing is that when it's WWE and you're MLW, legally, what are you going to do? WWE can easily keep this in the courts for years and with all the incurring expenses, and they won't even blink. Whereas MLW, probably can't necessarily afford the legal team to pursue this. So that's it. What are you going to do?
And Hannah Moore says, and if you want to ram things down people's throats, get Blue Chew with code FIGHTFUL. I'm done now. That's right. BlueChew.com, and you use the code FIGHTFUL. You're about to be self-isolated for quite a while. And sometimes that distancing can be hard, but not as hard as your erect penis will be when you use BlueChew.com, code FIGHTFUL. Here's the great news. Right now, you're going to have doctor's offices crammed. The waits are going to be just insane. It's going to be a pain to even get into the doctor's office. Not even that. Just getting your phone call through. Well, when you use BlueChew.com and the code FIGHTFUL, you don't have to worry about any of that. It's prescribed online by Blue Chew affiliated physicians and shipped straight to your door. You don't have to wait in line at the pharmacy. You don't have to sit through all the stuff that's going on now. I mean, it's a danger to even go out. So if you're trying Viagra and Cialis, or you have been for a long time, give Blue Chew a shot. It's a chewable. It gets into your system a lot faster. It's got the same FDA-approved active ingredients as Viagra and Cialis, but it's ready when you are, and if you're not ready, it'll get you ready. Ships to your home discreetly, or your P.O. box. I don't know. If you're trying to shove more than Blue Chew in somebody else's box, I mean, then you probably need Blue Chew to help you out there. BlueChew.com, code FIGHTFUL, just pay $5 shipping. Yep, that's what's going on here tonight. Lots of Blue Chew talk. Kevin Langoff says, COVID versus swine flu versus Ebola, triple threat. Who wins? Stay safe, guys. Well, swine flu H1N1 took many more lives. Ebola seems the most unpleasant, to be honest with you. But COVID is very contagious. Dare I say maybe the most contagious. So it's really a matter of experience over everything, Warren. And I think H1N1 probably takes that triple threat. Any thoughts?
I would say so too. I would agree. The H1N1 was more difficult to contract, but deadlier. I think it's essentially. I know
someone who had it 3 times.
Really?
3 times. She told me that this week, and I was like, huh?
The way I see it, it's kind of like you're putting what do you call them? The big sirloin
beef sons of bitches, yeah.
Versus a lightweight, like a light heavyweight. That's essentially it.
To me, Ebola is like the Bray Wyatt of those. Like, it was the scariest.
Yes.
But the push was stopped right in its tracks. Like, it got stopped pretty quick. To me, coronavirus, COVID, is like getting the sustained dominant push that's like keeping everybody in their house. And swine flu was like the one that everybody heard about, but they maybe didn't experience themselves because they just didn't. It's the indie darling, so to speak.
Yeah, it's Nick Gage.
Yeah, you know what?
It's Nick Gage.
There you go. Aaron Jace fan says, just my opinion. Every champion should retain at WrestleMania in order for bigger moments with a live crowd, except for the Goldberg match. I disagree. I have a lot of people saying, oh, wait until. If we've seen anything from WWE, it's that we don't want to wait until, because I don't trust them to do it. Also, what I don't want to see during this period is meaningless wrestling, Warren. I want to see stuff that matters, whether it's in front of a crowd or not, because you know where there is a crowd? Right in front of these monitors that need entertained very badly.
Should we get into this now? Because I have some very, very, very very passionate thoughts about this.
Is this about the women's match?
Well, it all boils into it, yes.
Well, we will get into it then.
Okay.
But we have some more
super
chats.
chat.
Yes, we will attack that question. Tim Traver says, I want to say thank you, Fightful, and Mr. Warren Hayes for the podcast you all are doing, trying to keep my mind off of things. Thank you, Tim. We appreciate you. Rob says, surprised with ESPN, WWE Mania deal. Does it lead to anything? So as Jeremy Lambert kind of pointed out on Twitter, WWE effectively has some sort of television presence with NBC Universal, Fox, and now ABC, because ABC owns ESPN. I think it's a good move to run WrestleMania the next few weekends. Why not?
Absolutely. Especially since I think there's a part of WWE that is realizing that they might not be living up to expectations, that the hype might not be there. So what better way to hype your big show than giving people access to your previous big shows? Will it do the opposite effect where you have 40,000 people here and 70,000 people here in this 7-hour show, and then WrestleMania this year is basically, as you put it last week, and I really, really like the way, Frankenstein together in front of no live crowds? Is it going to do the opposite effect? Is it going to maybe create an expectation, raise the bar a little, only to have it brought back down? I don't know, but to me, it makes sense for WWE to be doubling down in this season. But I do kind of wonder what the end game is here. Are they establishing a relationship with ESPN? Maybe. Are they trying stuff out? Because, there has been talk about the network being, the WWE network maybe being broken apart, maybe taking the premium content, as they like to call it, and given to another OTT, over-the-top provider. Would they be in talks with ESPN then, and they just want to test the waters on something? I don't think it's as flush as, hey, we're going to give the people some free entertainment because they need it these days. I'm pretty sure ESPN needs some programming blocks filled. So I'm sure that it's a win-win for everyone, but I'm pretty sure someone is testing out some waters here.
Yeah, I would imagine so too. Jimmy Van says, glad SRS knows I was right all along regarding WWE. I don't know what you mean, Jimmy. Specify in the chat, please. You weren't right about that $80 stock price, that's for sure. Shane Haas says, that Blue Chew spot was smoother than my balls after using the Manscaped Lawnmower 2.0. Hey, let's not go there right now. They haven't renewed yet. That was a trial run to see if they liked us. They said they liked us, but they haven't got back to me. So don't put them over yet. I like their products, but they got to pay. And finally, we have throwback with, again, the MVP, the Super Chat. Always with these generous Super Chats, kicking us off into our SmackDown review 15 minutes into the show. He says, with Gronk on SmackDown now, does this mean Warren has to get a Gronk jersey? If so, I can get him one being from Boston. Does Bryan winning the tag help him get close to the IC title? Should Mania have an Otis versus Ziggler match? By the way, taxes came in. Hey, we thank you, buddy. As far as Otis Ziggler, yes, that is a WrestleMania match at this point when this show is 2 nights, Warren, without a doubt.
Oh, no, absolutely. It's something that I've been calling for a few weeks now, but we're going to touch on it. But after tonight, this is undeniable. It's not a tag team match. It's not Rude and Ziggler versus Heavy Machinery. This is a one-on-one fight that we need.
The IC title thing, Bryan winning does get him closer to it, as we saw tonight, and I'm happy with it. I loved Gulak and Bryan tonight, and we will talk about that. But with Gronk on SmackDown now, Warren, are you getting a Gronk jersey?
Look, sure. I'd wear a Gronk jersey. I don't know where to get one, but I'd wear one.
Hey, he knows where to get one. Let's see if we can make that happen. So Gronk kicks off SmackDown. Well, Michael Cole and Mojo Rawley kick off SmackDown and introduce Gronk. And let me tell you, that was one of the most annoying goddamn entrances I have ever seen.
Right?
And I know people will go, he was meant to. No, he wasn't, because he was about to face off with Baron Corbin. So no, it wasn't meant to. He comes out and they gave him the most annoying ass music of all time. He does this condescending, like sarcastic, over-the-top dancing that you can tell is what he thinks is being charismatic, but is really just him being annoying as hell, Warren.
Oh, but didn't you hear in the lead-up? Gronk likes to have fun. He likes to have fun. He's a party guy. So, of course, he's going to fit in great with WWE because commentary likes to point out that their superstars like to have fun. I saw Gronkowski come to the ring tonight, and I said, look at that Gronk guy. He likes to have fun. So it was a fun time.
Well, he said that I did like the line about him being at FCW to watch Mojo when there were 5 fans in the crowd.
Sure.
I like that. And his chops, honestly, looked really good. Got to give him credit. The chops looked good. But Baron Corbin comes out and runs his gimmick. Get on your knees. Bow to the king. I don't see, and I had people in the comments last week, you guys sound like a bunch of haters when you talk trash about Baron Corbin. You all sound like a bunch of freaking haters.
Hey, where'd you get that glasses?
Freaking haters, man. I don't know what's even going on here. You all are just hating on Baron Corbin. He is what a heel should be. And because I'm smarter than you, I recognize the heat that he's getting. I swear to God, I do. Baron Corbin, greater than MJF. Greater than. In no way, not by booking, not by promos, not by protection, are they comparable. Weird that people compare the two. Weird. And here's the thing. Did I spy with my 2 deteriorating eyes best heel in the business, TM, get hit with the old Boys and Girls Club of America table trip? Do you know how many times I saw little kids pull that at the Boys and Girls Club? Where one gets on all fours and they shove him over? God damn. He's better than this. His delivery isn't. Delivery's bad. But he did this interview this week, Warren, where he's like, I can do 600 moves, but I only do 4 because it makes the crowd upset. I mean, well, one, no, you don't. You're legit one of the most innovative dudes in the ring on the roster. And I get he's not going to get on there and say, I'm one of the most innovative dudes on the roster. But he is. He comes up with new moves that people have not seen. But boring people away from caring about your matches isn't really what I would have in mind.
Should we clear the air? Maybe, I think it's for the 3rd time or 5th. Feels like a lot anyway. We don't hate Baron Corbin. Sean and I are multiple times on record saying that we enjoy Baron Corbin's work.
Yeah.
Go back a few months ago, re-listen to our reviews when we were talking about the King of the Ring tournament, and we're putting we're putting Baron Corbin over. We're talking about how great his work is and how interesting he's become. Baron Corbin in himself, in his in-ring work, is not the problem. He's saddled with a stupid gimmick, and he's fed corny lines, and he's put into these situations where he always looks embarrassed, where, again, tonight he ends up going, because that's the only way certain people in creative on SmackDown feel that heels can get heat, and it's by embarrassing them completely. This segment, in and about itself, was very difficult to watch. I was uncomfortable watching it because it was everything was corny.
Corny.
Everything was corny. From Gronk Corny's entrance, his dancing, and when Baron Corbin's music hit, I was like, this peak levels of corn was attained tonight when that happened. It blew my mind that we were sitting through this, and blew my mind that some people backstage decided that all of this setup was a really good idea moving forward. I didn't get it at all.
Elias did the interruption and throws him over the top rope, and Gronk's like, I can't make matches, but I think we should see it. I'm like, all right.
I can advocate for it. And then Michael Cole is like, wow, that's a great idea. That's going to happen. And I'm like, what is the point? What is going on? This is one of these circumstances where I really wish there was an authority figure of some sort that could come out and make the matches, but just don't throw that stuff around. I don't care if Gronk decides to advocate for a match. It doesn't matter. It just doesn't make sense.
It doesn't. And I don't care about this match. I don't. And it's WWE's fault. I don't care about it.
Sure. That's the thing. That's the important thing to underscore, is that all we want is to care. Yeah. We really do, because these are talented wrestlers. Mm-hmm. Baron Corbin is a talented wrestler. He's not that good a heel, but and it's not his fault. He's a talented wrestler. Elias, he's good. He's good at what he does. They've been misusing him
badly
for eons now, and it just boggles my mind that they've managed to do that. We that's all we want. We just want to be able to care for them. We don't hate them. We just want to care for the situations.
Xanthiu says, any update on that RSS feed for Select? We have an RSS feed on Select. For all of our audio, it gets sent directly to it, as far as I know. If you don't get it, then you might want to hit up our tech team. Jimmy said that he was right about the contract tampering. I mean, kind of. If it happens to AEW has the funds to go after them. I don't think Impact did. I don't think MLW did. But if AEW gets that type of situation, then yeah, I think WWE would have a battle on their hands, quite frankly. Mm-hmm. Shane Haas says, I hope Jimmy Van got his money's worth for the Moranis twins. Very clever. Throwback 27 says, Gronk versus Corbin would be a gimmick match, two former football players going at it, but Corbin would win. By the way, you think Gronk will spike Corbin's crown like he does for a football in the end zone? Yes, probably. Probably. But if this were ever at a WrestleMania, Gronk would win, because I don't think a celebrity has ever been pinned at WrestleMania. I know they've lost some Battle Royals. I don't think a celebrity has ever lost at WrestleMania. And that is legit. As far as a few years ago when I did my stats piece, nobody had.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. Although I will say that I'm okay with Gronk not wrestling. Quite honestly, that I'm okay with that. I think his role is perfect. I think he's gonna. Honestly, all signs point to him doing a very good job hosting. Mm-hmm. And he does it for a living now, and he's very charismatic. He's super articulate. I'm completely okay with the position he's given. I'm doubly okay that they're keeping him out of the ring. I don't think it would have been a good idea.
Reminder, if you want to donate a super chat, you'll get your question or statement read on the air. Dante says, I rarely watch SmackDown but tuned in today, and it's weird seeing it without some wrestlers in the crowd making noise. It feels too quiet. I want to catch up to throwbacks super chats, but these OnlyFans subs aren't cheap. Times are hard, but fortunately that Blue Chew is free, so you can be hard and it won't affect your budget. You can still run with the OnlyFans. Oh, bless it. Yeah, it is weird seeing it without the crowd, but I do think that they learned and they're having a bit more action on commentary over the last couple of shows to kind of help bridge that gap, so to speak. I think that's a smart idea too. I mean, it's not quite AEW what they did Wednesday, but it helps a lot, I think.
Yes, I agree.
Daniel Bryan and Drew Gulak are teaming, and they got their jackets on in the ring, and they're pummeling for underhooks. You know what we need to see more of? We need to see more going around the ring, and we need to see more wrestlers slapping themselves like the Armstrongs and Tracy Smothers used to do. You know, they would warm up like this. They would just jog in place. They'd be in their friggin' underwear, but a jacket on, a satin jacket, just slapping themselves. I don't know what that ever did. I have participated in many warm-ups, and never did a person leading the workout go, all right, slap your bicep. No, not once. Repeatedly, please. We need more. Damn. I mean, had they listened and just used more cowbell, maybe this virus would not have broken out to begin with.
Here you go.
Well, the new name for Nakamura, Zayn, and Cesaro is the Artists Collective.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Cesaro was the highlight of this, I thought.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
He caught a catching tilt-a-whirl backbreaker, a pop-up uppercut. Bryan hit a suicide dive early in the match, and he got the win with a flying somersault sunset flip. I love that finish. These two guys just winning matches with wrestling moves and holds is what I like. And assuming we look beyond WrestleMania, which we're about to talk about, Gulak and Bryan, at least until the summer when Bryan takes his time off for the birth of his child, they could be a pretty nice patch to replace the Revival in what they do. I like them together.
I think it works really well. I like how Daniel Bryan is really leaning into the Coach Gulak thing, and you know, just when they were cooling down after the match, and Gulak was like, okay, yeah, sure, now breathe, deep breaths, and Daniel Bryan was like, oh yeah, deep breath, which is weird because, you know, Daniel Bryan doesn't necessarily need some coaching on that level, but it's still very entertaining to see that he's leaning into it, and he's like, sure, yeah, I'll take what you have to give. Look, if we're not going to get more Bryan versus Gulak, might as well be on the same team, beating dudes up with wrestling moves. I'm okay with this.
By the way, Throwback sent me a tweet and said, let's make it happen. Gronk jersey for Warren for Mania. We'll see. I mean, hey, shipping that to Montreal might be a little more difficult than you think at this point.
Yeah, you never know.
Oh, man. I love this. Backstage, Sami Zayn is upset that Bryan is listening to Gulak instead of him, and I like that. This is driven by Zayn's ego. Like, he wants Bryan, and he did want Bryan. He tried to recruit Bryan, but Bryan rejected him in the past and said, you know what, I'll listen to Gulak, though. Bryan challenges Zayn to an Intercontinental match title match at Mania, which, sweet, man. This is the anti-Elias versus Corbin. It's a surprise that I'm like, okay. But what I like even more is they were like, you know what? We're going to have a match next week. Let's add some stakes to it. How about Gulak versus Nakamura? If Gulak wins, the title shot happens. And Bryan goes, yeah, sure, of course. Fucking awesome, man.
All of this was great. You kidding me? We're getting El Generico versus Bryan Danielson. It's fantastic stuff. There's nothing bad about that. It's going to be great. I'm super looking forward to it. I love that they're adding stakes to the whole thing next week. That they're, you know, just giving Gulak something to do next week that has a relevance for WrestleMania. I dig it. One thing that I'm a little curious of, because I was a little blindsided here. I was really expecting a Braun Strowman rematch for WrestleMania. And as it stands, Sean, they have nothing planned for Braun again.
Might be a good thing
year.
after today.
Right.
Hey, fortunately for you guys, I have an article coming on Saturday where I just tear Braun Strowman's fashion sense to shreds, and EC3 tries to defend it. So keep on the lookout for that. But yeah, I agree. Now, Warren, from now on, I have to segue into your thoughts on these women's segments as if I was a woman in WWE cutting this promo. So I gotta ask, what did you think of this in-ring segment with Paige, Bayley, and Sasha Banks? Bitch!
That's pretty much it.
That's it. Bayley and Sasha Banks interrupt Michael Cole and Paige. And I gotta say, Bayley making fun of Paige's accent and explaining that she was doing it, that was funny. Got a little more somber when they made fun of Paige for almost getting paralyzed, but Paige gets to announce Bayley's Mania match. And let me say verbatim what Paige said. You're going to be facing what the why? I think Dana Brooke is very talented, and I want to see her featured more. Naomi maybe would have been an all right decision if she hadn't lost. Lacey Evans just lost.
Go ahead.
Why is Tamina in this match, Warren?
There you go. That makes absolutely no sense. 0 sense. Why did they where's Carmella? Why isn't Carmella in this match? But look, why is this match happening in the first place? Let's just take a step back here. How long have we been talking about Sasha Banks versus Bayley is your main event for WrestleMania? It is a top bill on your card. Why are you teasing it? Why are you giving us a six-pack match, a six-pack challenge to just lead us into Bayley versus Sasha when you could just pull the trigger on it? And this makes me realize just how bad they've been hot-shotting the SmackDown women's division. Because think about it for a second. If they had done this match here that they announced tonight for WrestleMania, if they had done this match for Elimination Chamber, we'd all be like, oh, cool. They're pulling the trigger on Sasha versus Bayley, and they're going to give this to us at WrestleMania. We'd all be excited for it, and they would have had weeks of build so that Sasha and Bayley can go from passive-aggressive to outright aggressive with each other, and then lead into a fantastic match for WrestleMania. Now, I've tweeted it out. You've tweeted it out. And we've both had the same responses, Sean. Well, they're saving this for SummerSlam. Wouldn't you prefer to have that in front of a crowd? Well, put on the glasses. Do the thing. Put on the glasses. Make it happen.
SummerSlam. You want to use SummerSlam. They're building for SummerSlam.
You know when I heard that? I heard that in 2018. And you know what I did? I posted tweets from before and after SummerSlam 2018 when that match didn't happen. Oh, but it's in Boston. It's in Boston. Don't you? In front of a crowd. Crowds are a hypothetical thing right now, guys. We don't know when a crowd will happen.
And here's the thing. Here's the one thing that you have to continue to understand about WrestleMania. It is WWE's big show. It is their Super Bowl. Whether there are 0 fans or 93,000 something in the Pontiac Silverdome, it is their biggest show of the year. This is where you put on your biggest matches of the year. And if you don't believe me that in the minds of the WWE that WrestleMania is not a big deal, if you don't believe me that WrestleMania is even a big deal this year, They came out tonight, and the excuse that they used to put it on 2 nights was WrestleMania's too big for just 1 night. There you go. There you go. There is no reason to delay Sasha and Bayley other than you folks, you people, realizing, and I'm talking about WWE Creative, realizing that you had nothing to do for the women's division, and then all of a sudden you're like, well, we got to do something now, and instead of giving us the match that WrestleMania deserves, you're giving us Tamina.
WWE saves things to the point to where they render people pointless.
Mm-hmm.
They've been saving a Braun Strowman top run to the point to where we're 2 weeks from WrestleMania with no match.
They've been saving Sasha and Bayley since 2018. They spent an entire year just fumbling, wasting them away on the thought of, hey, we're going to pull the trigger on this, and then they don't. So, no. And I believe this with every fiber of my being. This is a bad decision. It is going to be a mess. Sasha versus Bayley was the match we deserve. It's the match we should have got.
The only way I think this can be saved, if this is elimination, is if they immediately run through all 4 of the other women.
Oh, have them pull a Shayna Baszler on everyone.
Yes.
And here's something else. Here's something weird. Weren't they just tooting their horn that there weren't going to be any battle royals because they wanted to reduce the number of people in the ring at the same time, and they go and put 6 women in a match?
That is far less, though. I mean, they can make that work. Sure.
I mean, look, a royal. How many times have you seen? Like, honestly, more than 10, 15 people in a battle royal and a rumble royal at a time this year. It didn't happen.
Yeah, but I mean, the WrestleMania battle royal, everybody starts at the same time.
Sure, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, but I mean, Kevin Langhoff says, "Is this 6-pack going to be elimination style? I do not like the standard 6-pack matches. Pick the final 2. Oh, it'll be Sasha and Bayley if it's the final 2. Could you imagine if it's Tamina?
Look, I mean, they could do anything at this point. They could put the strap on Lacey Evans at this point. I wouldn't be surprised.
Oh, man. Throwback says, with Mania being moved, is there a chance SummerSlam in Boston gets moved? With all this Corona stuff in WWE, is WWE considering having these cities host the show again soon? Right now, WWE doesn't know. We don't know if crowds will be eligible in a month, 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, 6 months. We don't know yet. So, I mean, it's always a possibility. But I've been saying this over and over again. All these people that are like, oh my God, just postpone Mania. I'm like, why would they do that? This is not the NBA Finals. This is not the World Series. It is make believe. They ran Royal Rumble in January, and then in April they said, well, you know what? We did the Royal Rumble, but we're going to do the greatest Royal Rumble now. And they did it really quickly on, like, no notice, no promotion. But the difference is they could do it in Saudi Arabia. They could do it in Springfield, Missouri if they wanted to. They can run WrestleMania in June, in July, in August, September, October, November, December. It's up to them. If they want to do WrestleMania 36.5, day 3, they can do it because they can just do whatever. And I know a lot of people are saying, oh, well, that's not WrestleMania. It's a little bit of a special circumstance right now. People are, like, dying. So, yeah. But I do think there's a possibility they could move SummerSlam, for sure. I haven't heard that. They're not even thinking that far ahead, and it is truly taking it day by day right now.
Mm-hmm.
Reminder, donate a super chat. Any amount, get your question or statement read on the air. Thank you, Maurice, for sending one. Pass along a question if you so choose. Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross are not happy. Alexa challenges Asuka to a match next week. And we see the full Bray Wyatt versus John Cena match, which, if you got to do it, okay, at least put stuff into context, and this was very much in context.
I had no issue with them doing this. It made perfect sense. A lot more sense than rerunning the Elimination Chamber tag team match 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
This leans right into the story. It's been a while. It's been 6 years. A little refresher does us good. I really liked remembering that, the mixed crowd reactions that John Cena got, because right now he can do no wrong, but back then, man, and when commentary was even acknowledging it, he's the most polarizing superstar we have. And then a couple of years later, they're saying the same thing about Roman Reigns, right? So that was really, really interesting. And as I was watching this match, by God, if Bray Wyatt is not one of the greatest or the greatest character performer in WWE history, I don't know who is. He has been so consistent and believable in a gimmick that would fail with anyone lesser than him. Mm-hmm. And then he reinvents with the Funhouse stuff, which is completely in the same vein, but a complete not 360 because he'd be back, a complete 180 from his from the cult gimmick. And you also look at it, he was over in the crowd. People were chanting the song. They were waving their arms around as he was beating the hell out of John Cena. He's always had that connection. He's always been, to a certain measure, over. He's been losing matches affects a character's perception in the audience. Ultimately, you don't want to back a loser. You want to back a winner. And imagine if he had started racking up wins, we'd be in a whole different situation with his career.
Maurice asked about Tony Ferguson versus Habib and whether or not that's still going to happen. I keep asking people in the UFC, and they say repeatedly that Dana White is dead set on making this happen. I know I don't post a lot of MMA scoops, but I heard that Dana White is obsessed with making this still happen, and that UFC is getting presented are presenting new opportunities and spots for that every day. That fight is still like around a month away. Whew, boy. It's nonstop. They're trying to make it happen. This is one of the biggest fights UFC can do. Warren, I know you're not hip to this, but this fight has been canceled 5 times over the last 3 or 4 years. From tripping over wires in the Fox office to illnesses to just anything that could go wrong can go wrong. And a viral outbreak might keep it from happening. Dana White's like, I don't know, but we're doing it somewhere, and that's what UFC is committed to doing, and I hope they do. That's a fight that selfishly I want to see. I want to see it very, very badly. Oh man, people keep sending me this AEW news. Tony Khan has said, our goal every week with AEW Dynamite on TNT is to produce great shows for our fans, and I believe we do. We felt especially motivated to serve our audience this past Wednesday night, given what the entire world is coping with, and hopefully we gave them a well-deserved escape during these trying times. Everyone at AEW is very proud of what we've delivered and humbled by the response and kind words we've received from fans and partners throughout the world. Thank you. We plan on continuing to answer that call with live weekly shows every Wednesday night on TNT, but the time and circumstances aren't right for the card we had next week for Blood and Guts. The show will still happen when the time is right, but you can count on instead this coming Wednesday night is a live episode of AEW Dynamite featuring Chris Jericho confronting Matt Hardy face-to-face, one-on-one for the first time ever, and a tremendous night of wrestling action. In the meantime, until AEW Dynamite this Wednesday night, please follow us via social media, and please be safe and smart so we can get back to seeing you all on the road as soon as possible. Smart move from AEW. They can't do Blood and Guts. That's one of those matches you do save it. You do save it because that is too crowd involved. And let's be honest, Blood and Guts ain't their biggest show of the year. Not by a long shot. So,
no, absolutely. It's a smart move. It's pushing it back, waiting till you get the audience back, waiting till everything falls back on its feet. Yeah, and you know what? It's like we were talking about on Wednesday. The conclusion that they pulled off on Wednesday, they could really have decided to not do anything at all and just drag this out and I'd be okay with it. It felt like a cliffhanger from a really good series, and then you wait a couple of months for the next season to pop up, and you're really excited. That's how good they've been doing things recently. So yeah,
based on the numbers they did, I see why they want to go live every week. I definitely see.
Sure.
The dirt sheet sees Miz and Morrison impersonating New Day, Usos, and Heavy Machinery. I thought this was corny.
I didn't think it was so bad. I thought it was
Lots of people liked it.
I thought it was a good use of the empty arena, and this is an example of making the best out of the bad situation. And they got a couple of good lines in. I thought this was funny, right down to Morrison just before Heavy Machinery comes out. Morrison turns to Miz and said, "Oh, by the way, your social wants us to do some boomerangs," which I thought was hilarious. It was perfect.
So it wasn't for me, that's for sure, but Heavy Machinery come out for their match, and tag matches are truly the best use of John Morrison. My excitement level for John Morrison matches, singles matches are way down here, tag matches are way up here. He is so good at these. So good at these. What was not good was the catapult punch. Maybe if you're the Miz, don't try that on somebody 100 pounds heavier than you.
Yep.
Ziggler's music hits and Otis is distracted. Tucker hangs on through the commercial, does a double suplex, and we see the glitch again on SmackDown. Dolph distracts Otis mid-Caterpillar and shows Otis some pictures of he and Mandy and trolls him. Everything from here on out ruled. This was so good. Otis goes after Ziggler. Miz and Morrison come to his aid, but Otis loses it. Smashes both men into stairs, posts, tables, and barricades. And even when it looks like he's going to, sorry to hit you all with the like so much, but I think Morrison jumped off and he caught him, and you could tell that the momentum was dragging him towards that post. He just turned around and slammed him right into it.
It was fantastic.
This was awesome, Warren.
The angle here was incredible. It was so good. And this is what we needed at this stage as well. We needed Otis to stop being Bruce Banner and become the Hulk. And that's what we got. He is done being a nice guy. He's done taking it. He's been pushed. Because that's what Dolph has been doing. He's all but just pushing his buttons.
Yep. And Tucker's pleading with Otis not to use a chair and get them DQ'd. Otis does, and they lose. But the thing I like is that Tucker, it's not the traditional trope of like, oh my God, I can't believe you got us DQ'd in this pointless match. Instead, he was there for his friend. He's like, I'm going to calm you down. It's going to be okay, buddy. I know you've had a really tough time. Tucker ruled in this segment. Otis ruled in this segment. Ziggler was awesome in this segment. Miz and Morrison were great in this segment. And quite honestly, Miz and Morrison, despite being tag champions, have been doing a lot of giving lately.
Yeah, they have.
They have the only 2 matches they've won via pinfall or submission since this whole program started was their title matches. That's it. They haven't been winning any other matches by pinfall. They have been helping Otis get over. Everybody has been coming together to get this one guy over. And as a result, like, Miz and Morrison are hurting a little bit, but it's for the greater good. Tucker's not hurt. Ziggler's definitely not hurt. I care more about Ziggler than I have in years, Warren.
Sure, absolutely. The basis, I think the reason that this whole angle has been very, very successful is because it's all been very grounded and it's been very natural. We've talked about it many weeks, but over many weeks. Otis just being the guy trying to talk to the girl, can do it, finally does it, go ask her out on a date, so on and so. It's just all very relatable. So it was easy to get behind Otis. It was easy to support him in his endeavor because it felt authentic. And tonight, everything connected as authentic as well. Of course, you're going to get pushed over the edge at some point here. You're disappointed in yourself. You lost the girl. And then the jerk comes and keeps pushing your buttons. And then Tucker, like you said, just being a good friend, grounded, being, buddy, I'm here for you. I'm gonna help you work through this. This is all relatable stuff. It's not overproduced, comical, over-the-top, typical wrestling fare. It's just, it is to an extent, but it's also very, very human as far as everything is going on right now. It's all stuff that we can relate to, and it feels different. Everyone was perfect tonight. This angle has been fantastic. It literally is the best thing in WWE running for weeks now. They've been knocking it out of the park week after week. I love it. And this, like we were saying, this has to go to a singles match at WrestleMania. It's not a tag match. This is the payoff. This is what we need at this point, because tonight's angle pushed it over the edge. If there were any doubts, tonight's angle cemented it. Dolph and Otis at WrestleMania has to happen.
Young Bibby says, Riot Squad triple threat at Mania? I think it's a lot more likely now than it was 1 week ago, since there's two nights. Shane Haas says, I know the glitch is most likely Ali. Any chance it could be EC3? There's always a chance, but I'm going to put that at about 0.5%. I don't think WWE has any confidence in, or I don't think Vince McMahon has any confidence in him. Contract signing, Goldberg and Roman Reigns throw their chairs out of the ring. Poor office chairs, man. They got it bad there. Goldberg says he was hoping Reigns would take the challenge, but didn't think he had the balls. Reigns calls Goldberg a little bitch bulldog in his yard, holding a title he didn't earn. They bring up the tweet that Roman Reigns put out about how dumb it is to headbutt a door, and Goldberg says, I've been destroying doors with this headbutt for years. And Reigns, you're going to be the next victim. Owned. How will Reigns recover from that?
I don't know.
I've been giving myself CTE in arenas all across this world, including that time in Saudi Arabia that I definitely do not remember at all.
I think the only possible comeback to that is suffering succotash, son. I think that's really the only way you come back from that one. If he would have
said that, I would have popped so hard. If Roman Reigns would have looked at him and said, suffer and succotash, that was a shitty promo, I would have been like, you don't need Mania. There's your coronation right there, buddy. I guess it'd be the coronation, considering everything that we're dealing with now. But damn. It was, the fortunate thing is there was no crowd. Thankfully, there was no crowd for this.
Mm-hmm. There's a lot of people who were spared this.
Roman Reigns was so much better than Goldberg here.
For what it was worth, it was another contract signing, another moment of complete and utter creative bankruptcy on the part of WWE. And this was a by the book. If you were playing contract signing bingo at home, you won within the first few minutes, because we got the chairs being thrown. We got the guys each having their turn, cutting their promos on each other. We got angry signing, and we got a table flip. God, I hate contract signings, Sean. I hate them so much.
Well, fortunately, SmackDown is over. But hey, guys, we still got plenty of stuff for you. We got podcasts all over Fightful Select. I gave you all the plug for that. That's the most direct way to support us, and it would mean a lot to us if y'all kept us up over that 500 mark. But you also have, I don't know how often these daily editions of The Distraction will happen, but Jeremy Lambert, Joe Hulbert brought you I think it's WWE March Madness today. It's the start of a segment they're doing on The Distraction. And they hit me up and they said, hey, can we do more of these since there's not a lot going on? And I said, yeah, sure, why not? Go over there, hang out with them, have a good time. Warren does lots of shows too. Why don't you tell them about it?
I do a weekly wrestling recap show. Weekly. Every Thursday night at 9 p.m. Yep. YouTube.com/Mr. Warren Hayes. And I also do an NWA Power recap that I haven't been doing much these days because NWA has decided to take it easy on that front, which is understandable. So I'm doing all sorts of different things. I have all sorts of extra content that I do over on my Patreon at patreon.com/Mr. Warren Hayes.
Mr.
Someone actually suggested that I gimmick a microphone to come down.
Idea.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea. Actually,
I'm not clever enough to think of that myself. Come on.
So there we go. So yeah, youtube.com/Mr. Warren Hayes. Give me a subscription. Come follow. It's a good time. We had a trivia night last night, which was a lot of fun. That was a lot of fun, actually. If you want to check out the segment, it's live right now on my YouTube channel. We'll probably do some more distraction outside of the distraction podcast, yes. But yeah, because you can feel everyone sort of needs it, so yes. We'll feed into that.
My wife and I went to trivia for the first time ever, like a month ago, before the social distancing. I saw it locally. A pub around here was doing it, and I was like, that sounds fun. Let's do it. I'll surprise my wife. I'll take her. It'll be fun. We'll do terrible. And we get halfway there, and she goes, did you know this is Harry Potter trivia?
Oh,
and
my
I went,
God.
Fuck! And I'll say this. There were groups of like 6 or 7. My wife got second place by herself. By herself.
Good on her. Congratulations.
Man, are you a Harry Potter guy?
No, I'm not a Harry Potter guy.
I took my... So... After my wife and I got married, Fightful had just launched, so we didn't have time to take a honeymoon. We didn't have time at that point. So we delayed it for a full year. I said, I'll take you anywhere in the world. I'll save up the amount of money. Wherever you want to go, we're going. Because you got to wait. She said, I want to go to fucking Harry Potter World. And I said, okay. So we go there, Universal Studios. By the way, if you ever go, guys, fast passes, that's great. But it was right after Irma.
Oh, my God.
And the only beneficial thing is the NXT tapings got pushed back a day, and we got to go to those. That was cool.
Oh.
But we're spending all this stupid money at Harry Potter World. And I go, and I'm thirsty. I drank this disgusting butterbeer. And my wife, like, I grabbed this water, and I'm like, does this say chili water? And she goes, ha! Gilly water. Like I'm some kind of nerd. And I look at her and I said, excuse me? I'm the dork here? I'm the one with the issue here? Because I didn't know what a gilly water was? Excuse me. Excuse me. It was a good time, though. It was a good time. Also, because I got those fast passes, I didn't have to hang around those snot-nosed brats in line.
For the record, I'm not a Harry Potter guy, but I know what gilly water is.
Well, I don't. I know who Professor Snape is because he is the legend from Die Hard 1.
Mm-hmm.
But I will say Universal Studios was a lot of fun. I didn't realize what she was experiencing until we hit Simpsons land. I have not watched Simpsons in probably 20 years, but I grew up on it, and I was like, wow, this rules. We're going to Krusty Burger. And then I was like, okay, I get it. Well, guys, leave a thumbs up, subscribe. Fightful.com. That's the place to be. Thank you all so much. We're out.